Have you ever had a moment where reality just didn't add up? Maybe it was déjà vu, or maybe something even stranger like seeing someone who looks exactly like you in a place they shouldn't be. Some people call them coincidences. Others swear they're proof we're living inside a simulation. Whatever the case, these moments are known as glitches in the matrix, and they'll make you question the very nature of reality. Today, we're diving into 10 of the most chilling glitches ever reported. Let's begin. Scene: the doppelganger roommate. One night, a man was lounging on his couch when he saw his roommate stroll into the kitchen. He even heard the fridge door open and bottles clink as his roommate moved around. A few minutes later, the front door swung open. His roommate walked in again, this time with grocery bags in hand, looking exhausted from work. The man's heart stopped. He stammered, "Didn't you just go into the kitchen?" But the roommate shook his head. "I just got here. I've been gone all day." The man sat frozen, realizing he had seen the same person twice, in two places within minutes. He swears he wasn't imagining it. The sound of the fridge, the footsteps, all of it was too real. But if his roommate hadn't been there, then who, or what, was in the kitchen? Some believe he witnessed a doppelganger. Others call it a hallucination. But to him, it was proof that reality isn't as solid as we think. It felt like the world had copied and pasted the same person, right in front of his eyes. 9. The disappearing hotel. A young couple on a road trip pulled off the highway late at night, looking for somewhere to stay. They stumbled upon an old-fashioned hotel with antique furniture, floral wallpaper, and staff wearing uniforms that looked straight out of the 1950s. It felt charming, if a little strange, but they enjoyed their stay. The next morning, they checked out and continued their trip. A year later, on their return journey, they tried to book the same hotel. But no matter how hard they searched, it simply wasn't there. Confused, they asked locals about it. Every single person said the same thing. There had never been a hotel in that area. Even stranger historical records confirmed that the building they described had been demolished decades earlier. The couple swears they slept there, ate breakfast there, and even kept the receipt from their stay. But if that hotel had been gone for decades, where did they spend the night? A slip in time or a glitch in the matrix? 8. The instant time jump. A man was driving home late at night on a long stretch of empty highway. He glanced at the clock: 11:15 p.m. The road was quiet, his headlights carving into the darkness. He blinked, and suddenly the dashboard read 1:30 a.m. Nearly 2 hours had passed, but the car had only moved a mile. His phone confirmed the missing time. He wasn't tired, he hadn't pulled over, and there was no sign of lost consciousness. To him, it felt like 1 second. To the world, it was 120 minutes gone. The strangest part? His gas tank, mileage, and GPS showed no sign of the car traveling those missing hours. It was as if he and his vehicle had simply been removed from time itself and dropped back in. He still can't explain where those 2 hours went. Was it alien abduction? A blackout? Or did he simply drive through a rip in reality? To this day, he calls it the most terrifying, unexplainable moment of his life. 7. The missing airplane. In 1954, a commercial airliner known as Flight 513 took off from Germany bound for Brazil, but somewhere over the Atlantic, it vanished. No wreckage was found, no distress signals sent. It simply disappeared. Decades later, in 1989, an abandoned plane reportedly landed in Porto Alegre, Brazil. Authorities rushed to the runway and discovered something chilling. The aircraft matched the description of Flight 513 exactly, down to the tail number. Inside, every passenger and crew member was seated in place, but reduced to skeletons. The cockpit still had the pilot in uniform, skeletal hands on the controls. Officials dismissed the story as a hoax, claiming it was impossible. But witnesses insist they saw it with their own eyes. Was it a myth, a cover-up, or a glitch in time? If true, Flight 513 didn't crash, it slipped out of reality for 35 years before reappearing, frozen in its final moment. 6. The déjà vu conversation. A teenage girl sat in the living room, chatting with her mom. They talked about school, dinner, and the neighbor's dog. After about 5 minutes, her mom went upstairs. Moments later, The girl's phone rang. It was her mom, calling from work. She hadn't been home all day. The girl froze, realizing she had spent 5 minutes talking to someone else. When her mom returned later that night, the girl described the conversation in detail. Her mother was horrified she hadn't been anywhere near the house. To this day, the girl swears it wasn't a dream. The details, the laughter, even the way her mom leaned on the couch were all real. But if her mom was at work, who was she speaking to? Was it a glitch, a ghost, or something far stranger like reality replaying itself? 5. The Phantom Restaurant. A family on a road trip pulled into a cozy diner by the highway. The place looked old-fashioned but warm. Waitresses wore retro uniforms, the food tasted homemade, and the prices seemed oddly cheap. They enjoyed their meal, paid in cash, and continued driving. Months later, they passed the same road and decided to stop again. But the diner was gone. Instead, they found an overgrown, burned-out lot. When they asked locals about it, everyone gave the same answer. The diner had burned down years earlier and was never rebuilt. The family described the menu, the waitresses, even the dishes, but no one believed them. Yet they all agreed they had eaten there together. The question remains, how did they dine in a building that didn't exist anymore? Was it a shared hallucination? Or had they slipped through a glitch into another time, if only for one night? 4. The copy-paste people. In different towns across the country, people began reporting the same bizarre sight. Strangers who looked completely identical appearing in multiple places. One woman described seeing a man in a bright red jacket and hat on a New York subway. Weeks later, while traveling across the country, she saw the exact same man in the exact same clothes, riding a bus. Others told similar stories, faces repeating, people reappearing in distant cities, as if reality was recycling the same characters. Some dismissed it as coincidence or mistaken identity, but dozens of accounts described identical people moving and behaving in eerily similar ways. It's almost as if our world runs like a video game, with background characters reused when no one is supposed to notice. But these people did notice, and now they wonder, are we living in something scripted? 3. The Lost Time Commuter. A man boarded his usual train for a 30-minute commute. He sat down, opened a book, and began reading. Suddenly, the train screeched to a halt. Looking up, he realized he was already at his stop. He glanced at his watch. Only 5 minutes had passed. Confused, he asked another passenger how long the ride had been. The man looked at him strangely and said, "Half an hour, like always." But the commuter's watch confirmed it. 5 minutes. It was as if time had skipped, fast-forwarding him to his destination. He still remembers every detail, the book's page, the hum of the train, the sudden arrival. Yet, in his reality, the ride was over before it even began. Was it a personal time slip? Or did everyone else experience the ride normally while he glitched through it? 2. The NPC loop. At a grocery store, a shopper placed their items on the conveyor belt. The cashier smiled and asked, "Did you find everything okay?" She scanned the items, handed the receipt, and said, "Have a nice day." But then, something strange happened. The cashier froze, smiled again, and repeated the exact same words, the exact same tone, and even the same gestures. The shopper stood stunned. It happened again. 3 identical loops, like watching a video game character stuck on repeat. After the 3rd cycle, the cashier suddenly snapped out of it and acted normal, with no memory of repeating herself. The shopper walked away, shaken, convinced they had just seen reality glitch. To this day, they describe it as watching an NPC non-playable character in a video game malfunction in real life. But if our reality is truly running like a game, who's playing it? 1. The Green Children of Woolpit. In the 12th century, villagers in Woolpit, England, discovered 2 strange children wandering near a field. They had green-tinted skin, wore unfamiliar clothes, and spoke a language no one could understand. The villagers took them in. Eventually, the boy grew ill and died, but the girl survived, learned English, and told a shocking story. She and her brother came from a place underground where the sun never shined, and everything was bathed in twilight. Historians have debated it for centuries. Were they malnourished orphans, immigrants from a foreign land, or something far stranger? The story has never been fully explained, and it remains one of the oldest and strangest glitch in the Matrix accounts on record. Even today, people wonder, did these children accidentally step out of their world and into ours? So, what do you think? Are these strange stories just eerie coincidences, or proof that reality is not as stable as we like to believe? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to hear more true stories, mysteries, and strange events from around the world. Until then, keep your eyes open, because you never know when reality might glitch again.